Race 1 of the R&G British Talent Cup was a wet affair, as you can see very clearly. It was one of the only wet races of the season we've had so far for the R&G British Talent Cup, and it was always going to be interesting to see who would prevail in such conditions. Sullivan Mounsey managed to get himself to the sharp end of the field and brought Harley McCabe with him in the opening stages. Unfortunately, an early end to the race for a couple of the riders, but there were some standout performances from the likes of Alexander Rowan, Lucas Brown, and also Evan Belford, but unfortunately Belford chucked it at the scenery, the championship leader at Clearways, as he ended up going down the road. Then we saw Brown versus Alexander Rowan in the battle for the podium positions as they fought to the checkered flag. But it was Sullivan Mounsey who took the victory in race 1 ahead of Harley McCabe in second place. And then it was a drag to the line for third place between Brown and Alexander Rowan, with Rowan taking his first podium of the season with a third place finish. But nothing was stopping Magic Mounsey here at Brands Hatch. Well, a very good morning from Brands Hatch. Thankfully, the rain has moved away. The sun is out. The track is mostly dry, and the riders are very much looking forward to their race here today. It's going to be a hugely exciting affair for this one, and the upshot is that it's going to be Evan Belford, despite his DNF yesterday, who actually ended up setting the fastest lap in the race, and he starts this one on pole position here, Neil.
Yeah, good get out of jail there, and actually, yeah, not ideal going down. He wasn't injured, he's in pole position today, and he still has a 54-point lead in the championship, so he's actually got 2 races in hand, so he could afford to lose one, but he can't afford to lose any more today. But yeah, a lot of major runners went down yesterday. Rhys Stevenson, Evan Belford, Harrison Mackay, Ryan Frost, Phil Penko went down as well, so it's really unlucky, tricky conditions. But today, completely different. Over 20 degrees now, track temperatures getting up to mid-20s, absolutely perfect conditions. Even the damp spots are not really a huge risk, so I think we're going to see a lot of guys trying to make up for yesterday. We're going to see some cracking racing.
Here's Alexander Rowan, fresh off the back of his first podium finish of the season. Seems to excel in wet conditions. We had that at Snetterton a couple of weeks ago, and we saw it here yesterday afternoon at Brands Hatch. Let's see whether in the dry he can bring the fight to the front. Here is the pole sitter, though, the championship leader by some 54 points going into this weekend. Into this race, I should say. It was over 60 points going into this weekend, but following his DNF, it was whittled down by just a few, but still a healthy advantage that he holds in the title battle. A huge credit, by the way, to Rhys Stevenson and his team, his family-run outfit. He sent his bike into the gravel trap in a big way here yesterday. Broke the frame, broke the subframe. They were rebuilding it overnight. Oh, wow. Managed to get it out onto the grid for this one. So a huge effort to get that bike ready for racing.
Do you know that bike in between races prepared in the family kitchen?
Is it really?
Unbelievable, yeah. And also he's got a younger brother who's 12, and he's got 2 more twin brothers younger than that, so the family's got, and they all want to go racing. Well,
it beats a Sunday roast, doesn't it? Let's have a look then, shall we, at the championship standings after 9 races in 2023. It's Evan Belford, 54 points to the good of Emmanuel Brinton. Sullivan Mounsey there, 57 points drift, fresh off the back of his win here yesterday. Harley McCabe very much close on his heels, equal on points, of course, there with Mounsey. Don't discount the likes of Julian Correa as well. Though it is a big advantage that Belford has in the title standings, it's still all to play for a little bit further down. Here's the grid then for race 2 of the R&G British Talent Cup. It's Evan Belford on pole position ahead of Alexander Rowan, podium man yesterday, and Lucas Brown very unlucky to lose out with a 4th place finish at the checkered flag ahead of Harley McCabe. Race 1 winner Sullivan Mounsey and Rhys Stevenson, who was on the deck and having his bike repaired, not on the kitchen table but down here in the paddock. Row 3 is Ollie Walker ahead of Julian Correa and Emmanuel Brinton. Row 4, Philip Sorowiak, Charlie Barnes, and then Eli Banish, who got his best finish of the season with the 12th place at the checkered flag ahead of Ben Jalif, Ronnie Harris and Dan Goodman. Row 6, Harrison Desoy needs a strong result to get his confidence back ahead of Clayton Edmonds and Ewan Jones. Then you've got Harrison Mackay on row 7, Josh Bannister and Peter Willis. Row 8 is Ryan Frost, George Bowles and Charlie Huntingford. And row 9 on the grid is Sistoslav Pilpenko and then Scott McPhee. He qualified very well here for race 1, but crashed on the sighting laps of the grid. Obviously didn't manage to set a lap time, hence why he starts from the very back of the field here this morning.
Yeah, easily done. Shame for the young Scott, just going up the hill through Surtees. Lots of riders got caught out exactly the same spot yesterday, and unfortunately it was on the sighting lap for Scott, but hopefully everything will be okay today. Certainly got a challenge ahead, but I'm sure he's relishing it.
Well, here is the championship leader then, Evan Belford. Is he going to be able to convert it to a light to flag victory here this morning? We're about to find out. On the deck here yesterday, a chance for redemption though here ahead of the 12-lap race as the riders are lined up and ready to go. It's all eyes then on the lights on the left corner of your screen. Red lights on, lights out. Good start then from Evan Belford. Not bad off the second row though for Sullivan Mounsey. He goes to the inside of Lucas Brown and he's going to take Reece Stevenson with him as well. As they head down towards the first corner, it's Rowan into second. Mounsey up into third, taking a great amount of corner speed though through Paddock Hill Bend. And he's going to challenge second place there with Rowan up the hill in towards Druids. But a perfect start for Evan Belford as Mounsey tries the inside line there on Alexander Rowan, but manages to get his way through on the exit of the corner. And now through into second. His next target is the race leader, Evan Belford.
Big commitment from Mounsey there, from fifth on the grid into turn one and then down underneath Rowan at Druids there. Brimming with confidence from yesterday, I have no doubt.
Look at Emmanuel Brinton there trying to go through on the inside. He was up in 10th place on the grid and has made his way through into the top 5 in the space of a couple of corners. It's his first year in the R&G British Talent Cup. His first visit here to Brands Hatch, and he is adapting to this circuit very well indeed. Down the bottom of the Pilgrims Drop we go. Reece Stevenson there looking to the inside of Lucas Brown. No room at the inn for the Lincolnshire lad, trying to get a bit of confidence back underneath him and a bit of strong result here as Brown then goes to the inside of Alexander Rowan and goes through as they come in towards Dingledell and then the Sheen Curve.
Great start also for the fully rebuilt bike of Reece Stevenson. He's up to 6th position.
Yeah, nicely stuff there for him. Let's see whether Rowan's going to be able to hold on. Keep an eye out further down as well. There's Julian Correa, Philip Soroviak, Ollie Walker in the mix on the Vision Track machine as well. Moved over to that team earlier on this season. I was down talking to Nathan, the team manager, and I said to him, so what is it that's giving Ollie the confidence now? Because he was sort of in no man's land at Snetterton a couple of weeks ago, and he said it's just creating the right team environment for them, giving them the opportunity to have confidence, be comfortable where they are within the team, and not make it feel like if they don't get the strong result, it's not a punishment. They're not at school, they're out here racing and riding motorbikes.
There is so many elements involved in motorcycle racing. The motorcycle itself has to be right. It has to be right for the rider, which is particularly tricky in this class because the riders are all different shapes and sizes. Some very light, some very tall, trying to get them fitted in, get them comfortable, but also having that great, good, comfortable family atmosphere around them to give them confidence.
Brinton to the inside of Mounsey there for second place in towards Surtees. He was through. And now his next target is going to be Evan Belford. So this is going to be really exciting to see if Emmanuel Brinton is going to be able to close this gap down. Brinton struggled in the wet conditions here yesterday. 8th place it was for him at the checkered flag in race 1. And now up inside second. Oh, look at that, Mounsey. He's not afraid of getting his elbows out, is he?
He certainly, no, there wasn't any room there. I'm just glad he wasn't on the outside there. But Sullivan Mounsey working hard.
Cost him though. It's left him under attack there from Harley McCabe, who goes through.
That's right. He had to roll off a little bit there at Hawthorne. It just, So
this is Brinton on Mounsey. Talk us through this, Neil.
Into Surtees, classic passing manoeuvre. Steve Islop was amazing at that pass in there, and Brinton did the same. Carried his corner speed out, up the hill and onto the back straight. Yeah, Brinton on a mission. He lost some of his early season form the last couple of rounds, so good to see him back on the pace.
Harrison Desoy in the mix there as well, just on the fringes of the top 10. It has been a shocker of a middle season for Harrison Desoy. He had something like 4 DNFs in a row. Managed to get himself to the checkered flag here yesterday, albeit a little bit further down than he would have liked, in 17th place outside of the points. Now circulating up in 11th, just behind Ronnie Harris.
Yeah, it needs to be a confidence builder for Desoy. It's 2 nasty crashes at Snetterton, actually lucky to get away with them uninjured. So he's a front runner when everything's right on the Mike Fly's machine. So let's hope he just gets to the end and builds a bit of confidence.
Belford fastest last time around, 136.9. That's half a second quicker than Brinton was able to set. And look at the gap he's got. I mean, that's especially in this sort of class with everyone on the same motorbikes. That's a different postcode compared to everybody else.
Yeah, certainly just on the third lap, 1.46 gap is pretty impressive. I'm sure he was fuming with himself yesterday. He just played it perfectly up until that moment he had at the last corner. But I'm sure he's fuming with himself. I'm sure he's fully focused. Ryan Saxelby, Sean Ride will give him every confidence. They'll give him a good bike today, and he just needs to get it right.
Julian Correa on the ascension through the field on board the number 40. Keep an eye out for the blue, white and red machine with the yellow wheels. That is the first of the microliced Cresswell racing machines involved in this battle. He's just ahead of Alexander Rowan. Ollie Walker also in turn getting himself up the inside of Rowan. So Rowan, we know he had great pace in the wet here yesterday, but seemingly in the dry conditions looks to be struggling a little bit. But I tell you what though, it'll do no harm at all to be battling with this big group of riders, because they've all been quick in the dry this year.
Yeah, and it's all a learning process. These guys race by race, pace lap by lap, or gaining experience, gaining confidence, and gaining understanding of their 250 Honda machines. So yeah, everyone's on a learning curve here.
Coming across the timing line we are. Let's see if we're going to get any moves being made. Ollie Walker to the inside of Correa as they go over the rise into paddock. Desoy looking to the inside as well of Rowan. Rowan trying to go the long way around the outside of the American. That might leave him under attack here from Desoy. Thankfully, they all managed to enter the corner in pretty much the same positions as they exited the corner, rather than the same positions as they entered, albeit with one difference of Ollie Walker getting himself ahead of Julian Correa. So nice move there for Ollie Walker. And look at this further down as well. Ryan Frost in the mix. He was one of the riders who chucked it at the gravel trap yesterday, and well, he was mired down on the grid in 23rd. So definitely a recovery ride for the number 24, and he'll be hoping for more forward progress. Unfortunately, we've got an early end to the race for a rider. That's Ewan Jones, by the looks of things, who looks like he's stopped with a mechanical related issue here.
Very unusual, very unusual.
Yeah, we're 3 wide. Meanwhile, further back for position here. Ryan Frost looking to the inside of Rowan. Rowan goes for that wider sweeping line round through Hawthorns and holds firm for now.
Contrasting lines, and they all work for different reasons. If you can be really late in the brakes and then sweep across, providing there's no one on the inside, you will get a good drive out of Hawthorn up to Westfield. But also, you can go tight, it's good for passing, and you can also carry your corner speed. You have an earlier exit point, but both lines work equally as well.
Philip Soroviak involved in the action as well. Meanwhile, at the sharper end of the field, you can see Evan Belford is 1.8 seconds up the road. You've got Emmanuel Brinton in there as well. Then you've got Harley McCabe here with Sullivan Mounsey. This is in the battle for the final podium places. Mounsey to the inside of McCabe. And McCabe there going a long way around the outside and holding that with a wider sweeping line through the first corner. But we know that Mounsey, if anything, his strength has been so much under braking this year. He is not afraid of just getting to the corner, going 50 metres beyond where everybody else is braking, and then managing to somehow get the bike to the apex at the same time.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's just skills or technique or whatever. I'd love to see the number 4 Mounsey on the podium. I mean, I want them all to do well, but I just love his post-race interviews. They're just amazing. So yeah, I really look forward to another interview.
Yeah, Shaky was down talking with, he used to ride with his dad when back in the Fast Bikes days, and I'm sure some of the things you probably still couldn't talk about from a legal perspective now.
And you wouldn't be able to do in a magazine anymore as well. Yeah, definitely. They certainly were cutting edge at the time.
Well, thankfully, Sullivan Mounsey keeps his riding on the racetrack in a safe environment. He's looking to the inside of Harley McCabe as they go through into Westfield. No way through for him as it stands. But McCabe has been really strong so far this year, has the number 7. And you can see him there with a wider sweeping line coming through the final series of corners. And really impressive. He's taken 1 podium finish so far this year, but he has been pretty much consistently in the top 10 throughout 2023. Just looking at his previous results, he got a 4th and a 5th at Snetterton. He was 6th and 4th at Knockhill. Back at Silverstone for the opening round, he was 4th and 6th as well. So he's been there and thereabouts all year, and that consistency really pays off over the course of a long season.
Very much so, and he's 3rd equal in the championship and only 3 points off 2nd in the championship. So a fantastic season by all accounts, and 14 years old.
So coming down through Paddock Hill Bend, slightly wide there for Mounsey, flirting with the curve.
Yeah. He looks like he's really enjoying riding the bike. He's taking a few liberties, not unsafe at the moment, but yeah, certainly using all of the track. He has to be a little bit careful there, and I'm just glad that the curves have dried up, because that can get a little bit sketchy out there if you're committing on the edge of the tyre.
If you're looking at Evan Belford as well, he's out in the sharp end of this one. He's got, what, 2.5 seconds now he's pulled out over Emmanuel Brinton. Some will be watching this yesterday and thinking, oh, he was absolutely nowhere, just seems to struggle with the wet conditions. What do you think it is that's giving him the confidence here in the dry to push harder and have this pace?
It's all seat of the pants riding, as I say many times, and having the right bike under you. These guys will push to the limit. Hopefully they can find that limit, but if the bike's not capable of going any faster, then they won't. So it's just having a good crew, having a good team that understand how you ride, your shape and your size and your weight, getting the suspension dead right, and understanding where you're going to push. But what you don't want is a rider that rides one way in practice and then gets super aggressive in the race, and then that can bring its own problems, especially in the suspension department. But it really is just giving the right bike to the rider. They've all got a huge amount of talent, these riders. They've all got plenty of potential, so just getting everything right.
And in terms of the setup of the bikes as well, obviously they've softened everything up a little bit yesterday for the the wet conditions. I imagine they'll be going back to the drier setups that they probably had here on Friday.
Yeah, they would, and particularly Alexander Rowan's bike yesterday, taking nothing away from his brilliant ride. He looked like he had a nice soft setup. That bike was giving him loads of feel. He was really confident. He wasn't having any moments at all, and he was able to pull some good passing manoeuvres. So again, that comes down to your crew and how clever they are, and a lot of experienced guys in the paddock. Steve Partridge and Ryan Saxo Bay, Pete Banks, the John Cresswell from the Cresswell team. They've got years and years of experience and just getting the bikes dead right for the riders.
Someone else having a really good run actually is Josh Bannister. He's down in 14th at the moment, but he's only had 3 points finishes so far in 2023. All of those on the sort of... Oh no, Manuel Brinton's lost the front going down. He was wide on the entry into Surtees, loses the front end of his Honda, and it's a DNF for Brinton. He's up and okay, he's on his feet, but that is a big chunk out of his championship challenge here, Neil.
I was so surprised. I mean, he was, just on the brakes. It was so sudden. It was so sudden. A lot of pressure on that front tyre, on that front suspension. Gave him no warning at all. It wasn't a gradual crash. It was just immediate. I'm not sure where we were on there. I'm so surprised because he's such a smooth, talented rider. I was surprised when he went down at Snetterton. Some of his races this year have been absolutely faultless.
Well, I have to say, I thought he was a little bit wide on the entry of the corner, but looking at the line from the likes of Harley McCabe and Mounsey behind, actually, he looked like he was fairly online. But yeah, like you say, so sudden there, just on the brakes, and it just dropped with absolutely no warning at all.
Yeah, I mean, he was coming under pressure from these two guys, so maybe he was feeling a little bit of that. I'd be watching his pit board. They were getting closer and maybe just trying to make up a little bit too much time too quick.
Meanwhile, that means that this battle for third becomes a battle for second here between Harley McCabe and Sullivan Mounsey. So opportunity knocks for those two. Yet again, another quickest lap. A lap record there for Evan Belford, a 1:36.149 for him. Meanwhile, further back, look at this battle going on here as well. Up the inside there, you've got the number 66 of Ronnie Harris making his way through, who's having a really good run of things, getting one over on Harrison de Soy. This is in the battle for the top 5. So, and look at it further back as well. It's not slowing down.
That fifth position is enemies. Look at that bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, absolutely. Ronnie Harris, and he's only had one top 10 finish so far this year. So now up inside the top 5. Really good run for him on board that Team Harris racing machine. He'll be pretty pleased if he's able to hold that until the end of the race. We're coming in towards the sort of latter stages of it now. Harrison de Soy keeping a watching brief. There's Ryan Frost just behind. You've got Ollie Walker and then Reece Stevenson in tow, as well as Philip Saroviak and also Julian Correa, who's just been shuffled to the back of this pack for now. Back at the battle for the second place podium position. Still Harley McCabe who holds firm. Look at how much they're pushing the front end of this Honda through in towards the right-hander of the Sheen curve.
Yeah, this is going to go all the way. Interesting, contrasting riding styles here. Harley McCabe, very smooth, very inch perfect, pretty much every corner, every lap. Sullivan Mounsey, tend to think that he will take a chance, he will take a punt, a bit of a lunge or a bit of a pass. He's certainly using all the track, riding super hard. Great to see these guys having fun.
Let's have a look at their lap times as they come across the timing line next time around. A 37.3 for Mounsey, a 37.4 for McCabe. So just a tenth of a second between the two. Nothing to separate them on track. As you can see, just 2/10 of a second was the gap between them as they came across the timing line. Belford's checked out and is in a different postcode. What's that? 5.9 seconds. That's Snetterton levels of domination here for Belford.
It really is, and in some ways it's good to see. One make championships are fantastic because it's a level playing field in many ways for all the riders. But if you get a rider that stands out that much on the same machinery and the same setup, then it proves he's maybe just a little bit special. And I do like to see that, like Johnny Gurness last year. He really was outstanding, standout rider, and that's what we want to see. And these are the guys that they've all got great career opportunities, but someone like that will get picked up. He'll get the attention of other teams, hopefully in Europe, and he can go on to greater things.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of riders are getting opportunities now within the European Talent Cup as well. Reece Stevenson was racing over with Vision Track earlier this year, for example.
Yeah, Harrison de Soy's been over there as well, and of course there's the MotoGP Red Bull Rookies, which is free to enter. Harley McCabe didn't get out of Westfield so well that time.
Almost like he missed a gear or something there, didn't he?
Just maybe
bogged down.
Or maybe in a taller gear, maybe didn't go back enough gears. It certainly gave Sullivan Mounsey's riding style quite radical and all over the bike, making his body position, making his riding style count. He does look like he's a little bit more on the limit than Harley McCabe.
So when you're a rider chasing at the moment, what is going through your mind? You know you've got the pace, you know you're setting good lap times, but how do you plan when you're going to make these moves?
Yeah, well, he's comfortable following. I mean, he obviously matches lap times and matches pace, but yeah, you're looking for somewhere where you're maybe just got a little advantage on the track into Paddock Hill Bend. Maybe that was a bit of a dress rehearsal for Sullivan there, but you're really looking for two things: somewhere that you can maybe just pounce on the last lap, and also keeping the pressure on. Sometimes not a bad idea, just sit behind that rider. Harley McCabe knows he's under pressure. You'll see that on his pit board. So just keeping the pressure on and maybe just forcing a little mistake.
Well, let's see whether he is going to be able to do that. Slightly wide through Paddock was Harley McCabe, but he was able to run that momentum. A little bit clattering the curve on the exit of Graham Hill there as well. So it just looks like he's a little bit more on the ragged edge now at this point with a couple of laps remaining.
Yeah, pushing hard. Last sector, his personal best through that sector. So you're dead right, Tom, is pushing hard. His bike looks a little bit more on rail. Sullivan Mounsey's bike looks a little bit softer, a little bit more movement going on, which will generate a little bit more grip. But I think over a lap, Harley McCabe's stiffer setup might be the one for a lap time.
Hard to overstate just how impressive Ryan Frost's race has been. You can see on the graphic on the left-hand side of your screen that he was 16 places up from where he started in the field. He's in 6th place at the moment, just behind the likes of Ronnie Harris. He's got Harrison DeSoy in the mix there as well. You've got Reece Stevenson, Ollie Walker, Philip Saroviak, Julian Correa, all squabbling for these positions inside the top 5 and then the latter half of the top 10 respectively. But now we're coming in towards the penultimate lap, and Sullivan Mounsey, he loves pushing the front end of that Honda. Incredibly stiff motorbike, so you're used to seeing it sort of chattering its way through these corners too.
It's always a fine line between getting the suspension gripping and a little bit too hard where it chatters. But Sullivan Mounsey's got a good drive this time. I'm sure he's thinking about Paddock Hill Bend as maybe a potential pass, but in my opinion, he should leave it to the last lap. I think it'll be the element of surprise that might work here best for him, because I'm pretty sure Harley McCabe has got pace, and if he has to follow Sullivan on the last lap, I'm sure he might have something up his sleeve as well. So
down the start finish, sorry, down in towards Druids we go then. So Harley McCabe's name dropping down the time screen, but you can see I think it's just a transponder related issue, because he's definitely still in second place with Sullivan Mounsey very much hot on his heels at the moment.
Another personal best through the first sector, so McCabe pushing.
Yeah, he's looking really strong here, is Harley McCabe. Just to remind you, only one podium finish for him so far in 2023. That was at Donington earlier on this year for the second round of the R&G British Talent Cup. He'd love to add a second podium to his name as well.
Oh, this result would give him second in the championship.
It would, yeah, you're absolutely spot on there. So this could be a very fortunate result here for them, but you know that Mounsey, if you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile.
Yeah.
And they're setting things up really nicely for a last lap showdown here. Again, slightly uncomfortable looking bike there for McCabe.
I can't tell if Sullivan's got anything left. I think he would be, I mean, they're close, but I think he'd want to be even closer if he did have something and have a chance to pounce. He needs to get a drive through Sterling's here. I suspect Paddock Hill Bend might be one passing manoeuvre for him, so he needs to close in, maybe swing to the left, swing wide here, so he can get a nice drive, maybe even a little bit of slipstream, and get close enough as the come over the start-finish straight, just to get down the right-hand side, down the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Let's see.
2.4 miles left of this Brands Hatch circuit. 1 lap remaining in race 2 of the R&G British Talent Cup. Is Mounsey going to pounce? No, he's not quite close enough into Paddock at the moment, but he's going to be setting something up, you can guarantee it. Maybe in towards the second half of this lap, but McCabe has got him covered into Druids for now here.
A pouncey from Mounsey.
How long have you been working on that one?
About 5 seconds.
Evan Belford, you can see what it would mean for his championship at the moment. He's some 8.7 seconds up the road and is still lapping consistently faster than these two by about 0.4 of a second. And what a dream weekend it is for Belford, bouncing back from a disaster of that DNF in race 1.
Brought everything back in line, and great to see.
And that's the great ride and mark of a championship contender as well, able to put his sort of shortfalls behind him yesterday and move forward into today, and look what he's done.
He certainly has. So Harley McCabe looks in control here.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
Oh, he's tight out of there.
Wasn't
he lost drive out of there, definitely.
What if that's going to cost him a little bit of momentum? We go through in towards Westfield then, run down into Dingle Dell and then into the Sheen Curve. I think it's going to be into the left-hander, possibly of Sterling's here for Mounsey if he's close enough to put this move.
He's always a little bit too defensive there coming out of Hawthorn.
Yeah, he's not quite close enough here is Mounsey, so it could be a possible drag to the line here in this battle for second place as they come through Sterling's up the road just in the far end of the picture is this man here. It's an exhibition from Evan as he comes to the timing line. It's win number 5 of 2023 for Evan Belford as he crosses the line here at Brands Hatch to win race 2. Harley McCabe is just going to hold on for second in the drag to the line between himself and Sullivan Mounsey. A couple of tenths of a second separating them all race, and it was pretty much the same gap as they came to the checkered flag, with McCabe taking second with his second podium finish of the season. Mounsey in third, Lucas Brown in no man's land, but in fourth place, a very respectable result. And Ronnie Harris with his best finish of the season as well. Reece Stevenson there just managing to lose out to Harrison Desoy at the checkered flag. They were 7 thousandths of a second behind one another. And someone's gone down here on...
Scott McPhee.
I think it could be number 90. Yeah, it is Scott McPhee who's gone down on the final lap. So a DNS yesterday, a DNF today for Scott McPhee.
He'd made it into the points as well, into clearways. Here we see Scott McPhee, just got it all wrong there, under pressure from behind, but he was actually 15th on the last lap, so I was kind of half celebrating that he had scored the point. He's okay, but this is going to be a long trip back to Scotland.
Well, that gives Alexander Rowan the final point in this race, but what are they going to be able to do to stop this man here, Evan Belford? Top step of the podium once again for the number 52. An absolutely superlative result for him. It was his birthday yesterday. He ended up on the deck. Well, he's certainly given himself a present to remember here this morning for race 2 of the R&G British Talent Cup. As he extends his championship lead, it was down to just over 50 points coming into this one following that DNF yesterday, and it now goes back up to 62 points. A commanding advantage as we head in towards the latter stages of the 2023 season for the R&G British Talent Cup. Next time these riders will be out is at Thruxton, at Silverstone actually I should say, for the MotoGP event in a couple of weeks' time. Well, the riders now down into Parc Ferme. Evan Belford, what are they going to be able to do to stop him? His 5th victory of the 2023 season. He's down in Parc Ferme talking to Shaky.
Ready? Well, Evan Belford, you're making a bit of a habit of this. Your 5th win of the season, and you go and dominate by nearly 9 seconds, 8.2 seconds in the end. What an impressive performance that was.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I knew I had the pace to lead this race in the dry from Friday practice, because I was doing under lap record pace in FP1. So yeah, I'm really happy with this win. I didn't expect myself to clear off that quick away from Emmanuel. I thought he'd latch onto the back of me and it'll be a last lap battle. But yeah, I'm really happy.
Well, you'll be pleased to, well, from a championship point of view for yourself, you'll be pleased to know that Emmanuel unfortunately went upside down into Surtees, so your points lead has jumped up massively.
Well, that's a bit unfortunate. So I'd like to say sorry to Emmanuel. I didn't really know that, but yeah, I'm really happy with this win and the extended point lead in the championship.
Nice words. Well done, Evan.
Thank you.
Impressive Evan continues to flourish at the top. 62 points, his championship advantage then going into the next round of the season. There's Johnny Garness. Great to see him back in the paddock following a very nasty testing crash for him earlier on this season. It's going to be sidelining him for the remainder of 2023, unfortunately, but he's back there with a neck brace on. You can see recovering from his injuries, and he was down chatting to a lot of the Vision Track team and imparting, I'm sure, his words of wisdom to their riders here this weekend. Still, must be a bit of a kick in the teeth there to see Evan Belford lifting the trophy as many times as he has so far this year. But nonetheless, Belford's performances have been just so impressive. We're running out of superlatives to describe what he has been able to produce this year in the R&G British Talent Cup. What was the gap at the end of that? 8.2 seconds nearly over Harley McCabe in a single race, or in a single bike class. It's so impressive to be able to pull out that gap. And what about Sullivan Mounsey as well? Hats off to him. Really impressive result here in the wet here yesterday by taking that victory and managing to get himself on to the podium. Consistency is the mark of a great rider, and Mounsey taking his fifth podium finish now of the season, and that is his third place finish, if that makes sense, of the season. Harley McCabe with his second place finish of the year and his second podium overall of the season. And then this man here, ecstatic Evan, at the top of the podium once more for the fifth time in 2023. He'll have to get himself down to IKEA for a bigger trophy cabinet after this weekend. Mounsey there takes his trophy for third place. Nice bit of silverware and a big smile for him at the end of the weekend. Harley McCabe, great result for the number 7. And Evan Belford now 62 points clear in the championship. Highlights from race 2 of the R&G British Talent Cup saw Evan Belford starting on at pole position. A great start from Sullivan Mounsey, saw him challenging for second place down in towards the first corner of Paddock Hill Bend. We're keeping an eye on the likes of Harley McCabe and Reece Stevenson in the opening stages as well. But Belford, it was a light-to-flag victory for the number 52. Once he was out in front, there was absolutely no stopping him. We saw Emmanuel Brinton getting his elbows out on Mounsey in the early stages, and we wondered whether we would see Brinton fighting for second or even possibly able to close the gap down to Belford at the sharp end of the field. He was able to pull out a gap over McCabe and Mounsey in then third and fourth place respectively, but there was this moment that defined his race. Lost the front end very suddenly on the brakes into Surtees, crashed out of the race in spectacular fashion, and unfortunately ended up with no points on the board. But it was Evan Belford, his 5th win of the season. Harley McCabe and Sullivan Mounsey completing the podium for race 2 of the R&G British Talent Cup here at Brands Hatch.